Hey guys, say hi to my kitty Slate. Slate, say hello. Hi. So today's video is about how to make your application stand out and how to apply all together. So I applied to 5 schools. I got accepted to 3. I was on hold for 1 and I had an interview for another, but it was in the middle of this whole coronavirus pandemic. They told me on Monday that they expected me to be there by Friday. I'm just like, no. When it comes to applying to schools, first things first is look at the prereqs for the schools you want to go to. Generally, you have to take Bio 1 and 2 or Bio 1 and an upper level bio class, Chemistry 1 and 2, Physics 1 and 2, 2 social sciences, so psychology and sociology, and then sometimes it's writing or like something random. But generally, you just have to take all those 1 and 2s. Those are like the most important. Oh, and statistics. Yes, just about every school requires statistics as well. When you're taking these classes, you want to make sure that you're getting all A's and B's. I mean, I know it's like kind of hard to get all A's, and realistically I didn't get all A's, but definitely I had all A's and B's. And then the next thing is GPA. They say your minimum GPA requirement is a 3.0, but what they don't really explain is that they combine classes that you took over. So for instance, if you got like an A after retaking a class when you had a C the first time, it's gonna like mesh into a B. So you have to keep that into consideration when taking your classes. So try to do like a one and done, get it over with an A or a B the first time. Do not overload yourself trying to take all these prereqs at the same time and then end up getting C's, because then it's like, I'd advise you to take it again. Main goal, have all A's and B's. That's it. That's set. The next thing that you want to be sure of when applying is to have at least 30 hours in 3 different settings. I personally had 400 in an inpatient hospital. Outpatient ortho, I had over 1,000. I also had 30 hours in a skilled nursing facility, and those are my 3 locations. I know like some people who've been accepted who had like 5 different locations, but only 30 hours in each. So I think what's more important than having thousands and thousands and thousands of hours is having a variety of locations, because they want to see that you've seen that this profession itself can be very broad, and what you see in one place will be completely different from what you'll see in another place. And I've seen that firsthand with inpatient versus outpatient. It's like a whole new, copyright, I can't sing. Before going on, let's get back to the classes. With your classes, make sure you get one of those professors to be your bestie. The people you get to write your recommendation letters know you. Same thing with when you're volunteering or working in these different facilities. Make sure you have 1 or 2 therapists that you can get really close to that can write you a superb recommendation. So when I was applying to PT school, I had 2 therapists. One was from an outpatient clinic, one was from the skilled nursing, a professor, and then my last recommendation letter was from a supervisor. All right, so cool. Make sure you have good rapport with all these people. You're gonna need them in the future more than they're gonna need you. So be good. It's always good to be good. The next thing that you want to be sure to do is participate in a variety of extracurricular activities. They just want to see that you are doing more than the basic person. So the basic person goes to school and goes to work. They want to see that you did a little bit more. So make sure you're participating in clubs on campus, whether it's like a position of leadership, which I would think is a really good thing. I didn't have that, but when I was applying, I was like, dang, I should have did a little bit more. Anyway, try to get a position of leadership in a group or a club, or be like on an e-board or something. And if not, if you're like me, do a lot of things outside of school. So outside of school, I participated in a lot of things in church. I did my own things. Like I started a fitness program called So Fit Saturdays, and I'd work out with people on Saturdays. So I put that as my extracurricular activity. You also want to include that you volunteered in things that were not therapy related, because you don't want to make it seem like you only did these things because you wanted to go to therapy school. You want to seem like you're a well-rounded individual. So it could be something super random that doesn't have to do with PT school, because obviously you're getting all these hours and all these other things in therapy. They know that's what you want to do, but to show them that you're well-rounded, I would think it's good to volunteer in like a women's shelter or something that has absolutely nothing to do with therapy, just for the circle of roundness. Okay, the next thing, which just thinking about it is stressing me the heck out, is the GRE. I hated it. I hated it. I hated it. I hated every second of studying for it. I hated taking it. I hated taking it again. I hated it so much. The GRE, you want to have a combined score of 300 for some schools. Other schools require you to just have a minimum of 150 and 150 in the verbal and the quantitative section. And then other schools, whoo, praise the heaven for these schools. There's other schools that will have you substitute your writing score if you have a really good writing score for your verbal score. So it'll be like you either have to have a 4 or a 150. So like a 4 in your writing and a 150 in your verbal, and then a 150 in math. So, you know, I'm good at math. Math wasn't an issue for me the first time or the second time. Both times it was the verbal section. I took the verbal section. Well, I took the whole test again because of the verbal section. And guess what? I did worse. Unbelievable. So, I'm just so flustered by this test that I lost my train of thought. But do your research on the schools, see what they require. Excuse me. Do your research on the schools, see what they require, meet the requirements. Because if you don't, your application is being tossed. They see thousands of applications. They're not wasting their time trying to make an exception for you. So make sure you meet the requirements. Look it up. Every school is different. Some schools don't even require GRE, and the schools that do, they have different requirements. But usually it's a 150 in the verbal, 150 in the quantitative, and a 4 for the writing. So yes, that's that. Oh, and also take the GRE early, because if you're like me and you procrastinated and waited till the last minute to take it, and then you had to take it again, your whole application is standing there incomplete because you went to stall. You don't know what's gonna happen. Don't assume you're gonna be great, because I never did bad at anything before. So I'm like, this ain't no problem. I'm going there, take that test, and boom, bada bing, bada boom. But no, my verbal section was underneath 150, so I had to take it again, and I ended up wasting more time. So don't be like me, kids. The application cycle usually opens somewhere in July. Make sure you have your GREs done before July, or like literally take that thing right when the application cycle opens, because you don't want to miss on school's deadlines and stuff like that, all because you went to procrastinate with the test. All right, my next point is to really read up on the schools that you're applying to. Like, magnifying glass, read up on the schools that you're applying to, because they all have generally the same prereqs, but different requirements, different little things that if you don't see, your application's being tossed. So make sure you have everything they ask for. And with that being said, if you're applying on PTCAS, understand that these schools also have supplemental applications. Not all of them, but some. So make sure you know if they require a supplemental or not. Make sure that they receive their supplemental. It's a bunch of little things that get your application tossed. In addition to that, email them for everything you don't know or are unsure about, because you don't want to get your application tossed. I'm going to keep saying that. Get your application thrown in the... I sing too much. I'm going to get copyrighted. But you don't want your application to get thrown in the bag. Oh. So make sure if you have any questions, you send it to them. Like some schools, for instance, for me, There were schools that required both Bio 1 and Bio 2, but I never took Bio 2, but I took upper level bio classes. So I emailed them. I'm like, oh, I noticed on your site that you require this, but I have that. Can it substitute? And they'll tell you either yes or no. So don't assume anything. Always ask them. And the more they see your names in the email, the more they'll know who you are. And when they see your application, you're not just another applicant. You're the applicant that emailed them, that made sure that you met all the requirements. So they're like, oh, that's that girl. That's that girl so. That's what they said when they saw my application. Oh, that's that girl so. So yes, please email them about everything. Don't just talk to your friends about it, because your friends aren't on the admission board. Literally email the admissions people and have them answer your questions. They know what's best. Okay, my next thing is to have an awesome essay. You need an awesome essay, because that's the only place, well, one of the only places that they get to see who you are, besides reading your resume and reading your extracurriculars. The grades, of course, you want to all get A's and B's. That doesn't really separate you, because most of the people they're going to consider are going to have A's and B's. The thing that sets you apart is your essay. So when you're writing, one, complete the prompt. So if they asked you a memorable moment, I wrote about a memorable moment. I didn't start talking about thousands of experiences and da 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 da. That's not what they asked me. They asked me about one moment. So I wrote about one moment, and I tied it back to why I wanted to be a PT. Because literally, you're applying to PT school. Obviously, it has to relate to PT somehow. My moment had nothing to do with PT, but I related it back to PT. So whatever you're writing about, make sure you complete the task they're asking, and make sure your passion for therapy shows through your essay. You don't have to list your resume in your essay, because they already got your resume. You don't have to babble on about things that they can already see other places. Make sure you use that space. You use those characters, those 5,000 characters that they allow. You use it to the best of your ability, or the 2,500. I don't remember anymore. But use that to make you stand out. Don't use it on things that they can already see in your application. Use it on something that if they read everything else, they wouldn't know this about you. And my last point when it comes to applying is make sure you complete everything early. Do not be the person who's submitting the day before the deadline, because they get so many applications. Sometimes they start going through them, and then it's like you're at the end of the list, and boom, you don't even get a fair chance, because they already had so many people. Then now they only have a few more spaces, and you're like you're like at the end. I don't know how to word it, but you guys get what I'm saying, right? Apply early. That's what I'm saying. Apply early. It increases your chances. If you guys want to see a video on what you need to prepare, or how to prepare for a PT school interview, let me know. Comment down below. Like, comment, subscribe. But yes, that's how to make your application stand out.